Good afternoon, learners and teachers. Welcome back to our broadcast after your long winter break. I call this the third term, the last term of chances. It's a chance to improve your marks, that's your scores of the June exam, and to develop your insight, that is to have a great improvement in your marks. So how do you do it? Can I suggest the following? One, when you do it, I would like to recommend that you do it for 20 minutes per day per subject, like for instance 20 minutes for physical sciences at a fixed time every day. For instance, from 7 o'clock till 20 past 7, then you take a break and then you do the next subject, etc. Now, what must you do? I would like to suggest, if you don't have a plan yet, that you take a question from all the subjects that you have. For instance, we take physical sciences, you do question number 2 from the March 2016 one, which then would entail Newton's second law of motion and his law of universal gravitation, and you do that for 18 marks during that session, and you time yourself and you do it within 18 minutes. Or you do question 6, the one we're going to do today in the March 2016 paper, for instance, which is on chemical equilibrium for 19 marks, and you do that then. So you take one question per session, you work until you get it 100%, you understand it, so that your insight can develop. Now, how do you do it? You take the question paper, and then you actually test yourself on it. You write the question without any aids, study aids, or notebooks around. Then you determine what you know, and you write down the answers. Then you look for a memo, or you ask someone else to mark it, and you get some feedback from your teacher perhaps, or your peers, your friends, or you seek help from a tutor or someone, and then you do it again until you can actually do it. So it must be check, test, get feedback, and then do the intervention or corrections until you get 100%. Now the question is, what are we going to do today? Can I just quickly take you to my screen? Today we're looking at the part 2 of the chemical change, which you've done already, rates of reactions, but we're doing the extent, how far reactions can go chemically, and here we deal with the concept of chemical equilibrium. But according to the exam guidelines, which you should always have at hand, we find that there are 3 parts to it. Part 1, we will have a few terms, including chemical equilibrium, exactly what it is, and then 2 other terms like a closed system, for instance, and I think we have a term called the rates of reaction, how that happens, as well as what is a reversible reaction. We also have, in that first part of the chemical equilibrium, you need to know what are the factors that affect equilibrium, namely pressure, concentration, and temperature. In the second part of the exam guideline, which I'll show you later as we work through it, we will work with the equilibrium constant, exactly what it is, and then answer question 5.2. And then in the third part, according to the exam guidelines, we do application of equilibrium principles, specifically the Chatelier's principle. So that is our story for the day. 3-part section, which is nicely written down for you in the exam guideline. You will see it on screen in case you don't have the exam guideline there, but you can see the exam guideline down here on my white table. There you see exam guidelines. I go to page 19, that is 60, and on page 19, and there I will find, page 20, and I'll find the chemical equilibrium nicely put out to me in 1, 2, 3 headings. Don't worry, they will appear on the screen again later. So let's summarize quickly before I greet some people. 1, terminology. 2, working with a constant, a number, making sums. And number 3, apply your knowledge from here to there to 3 areas in the topic under of chemical equilibrium. Let me just greet a few people first of all, whom I see on the screen already. I notice here that Anthony is logged in, and Kanya Joseph, and then Anthony comes from Belleville, South Secondary, Castles-Flay, I think it is. Oh no, there's someone else from Castles-Flay Comprehensive High School is there. Anthony Wenzel is there. And then Rafik Murray is there as well. And then Optimistic, hey, from Senenjongo. Well, you're very optimistic. I hope the marks are there to agree with it. And someone says, I'm excited to work, ready to work, sir. And yo, good to be back, missed you, and good to be back, good to see you, excited to work with you. Need that B-boxer. Oh, I don't know what it is. Where can I buy? Okay, I will see what you mean later on. And someone says, hello, good afternoon. Well, good afternoon to all of you. Let's get straight into the work. I'm going to take extracts from the exam guideline because I want you to realize just how important it is. And then I'm going to show you where exactly in the exam guidelines they've taken the questions from. What do I want to do by that? What is my aim with it? I simply want to show you that the exam guideline is of the utmost importance. Earlier, I mentioned, take your question papers. Now I say, next document you must have with you every single day is your exam guideline. How do you like that one? Let's look at my screen and start the day hitting the ground running. Right, first thing, every definition, every principle, and every law that is examinable that you can get in the exams, you will find it is, right, you will find that it is in the exam guideline. I just made that green so that you can see it is in the exam guideline. And of course, what you have to do is you have to know your exam guideline. For your information, 50% of the marks in paper 1 and 15% of the marks in paper 2 are devoted to the definitions, principles, and laws. Can I emphasize this? This is your most important document now. You must know what is going to be asked of you. For instance, I'm going to show you now that in this exam guideline on page 2021, you will find the first part of equilibrium. And I'm going to show to you how the examiner, from the exam guideline, he actually sets his question papers. How's that? In other words, you know what's coming in the exam. Yes, you do, because your exam guideline tells you we are guiding you towards getting 100%. How's that for one? Let's look quickly what is on the first page here of the exam guideline that we should know about chemical equilibrium. A lot of reading. I'm not going to let you read it from the screen. I just want to highlight one or two things. First of all, they say you need to know what an open and a closed system is. That's the first idea. Then they give you the definition. Therefore, learn the definition. Then they say, no, if you don't get that one, we'll give you a reversible reaction. By the way, they asked that one last year. Then they ask you, what's a reversible reaction? There's your answer. Where do you get? Exam guideline. What must you do? You must learn it from the exam guideline, definitions, principles, and laws. Or, like in last year's paper, they asked the learners, what is chemical equilibrium? And the learners simply had to give this answer. And lastly, they would want to know from you on the first section, list the factors that influence the position of equilibrium. You need to say the factors that will change that, and then they actually give you the factors. If you watch carefully, they actually give you the factors. You don't have to go and find it. They say it's pressure for gases only, concentration, and then of course they tell you also that it is the last one there, you will notice, is the temperature. So, there's a list of things that you have to know. You need to learn it. Now the question arises, so does the examiner actually ask it? Let's see what he did with you last year.